Mbappe scored two goals, then Haaland scored as well. It felt like we were watching the perfect passing of the torch. Mbappe climbed past Messi on the World Cup all-time goal list and came within just two goals of closer. Haaland, in his very first World Cup, immediately looked like a machine tailor-made for this tournament. But just a few hours later, a 38-year-old Messi, playing with an injured hamstring, scores three. He leaps back past Mbappe and catches up to closer. In doing so, he became the oldest player to score a hat trick in World Cup history, completely ruining the easiest, most convenient narrative in modern football. Because that day was supposed to mark the final fading chapter for Messi, but it ended up being a sharp reminder that everyone had written him off way too early. How does a man at the twilight of his career outplay two superstars in their absolute prime? Not with sprints, not with brute strength, but with something that statistics struggle to capture. Messi came into this World Cup with a completely broken rhythm. His hamstring just wouldn't give him peace. He missed the match against Honduras, and against Iceland, he only came off the bench, played a small part of the game, and scored a penalty. That is not the rhythm of a player who is arriving to carry a national team. That is the rhythm of a player you just want to see on the pitch one last time before his retirement. And then, that exact player goes on to score all three goals. That's why the point isn't just that Messi scored a hat trick. The point is that a man whom you weren't even sure could physically play completely outplayed all football logic. But how? By stealing time from the opponent. You don't see it immediately, because before Messi starts stealing time, the match looks like it could go in a completely different direction. Algeria didn't come to this tournament to be victims. They came off a victory against the Netherlands and a draw against Uruguay, undefeated in their last three matches before the World Cup. In the first few minutes, it genuinely looked like an upset was brewing. Messi scored in the 5th minute, but it was ruled out for offside. Just 3 minutes later, Algeria scored a goal that would have given them the lead, but the referees disallowed that one too. And that's where something begins which, at first glance, looks incredibly simple. Three goals that seem to happen all by themselves. But they didn't. The first goal looks like a standard strike from distance, but the play started much earlier. De Paul threads the ball through Algeria's backline and Messi receives it in the pocket of space where you must not give him even half a second. That is the opponent's first mistake. Not because the space is huge, but because it is Messi inside that space. He drives towards the edge of the box. Zidane sees the shot coming and dives. He even gets a touch on the ball, but it's already too late. Messi doesn't need to be faster if he can see the endgame of the play before anyone else. The second goal looks like a gift. McAllister shoots from distance, Zidane parries it, and the ball drops right into the box. It's easy to just say that Messi happened to be in the right place at the right time. While the entire defense is staring at the initial shot, Messi is already attacking the rebound. While they are reacting to the first event, he is already anticipating the second. The third goal is the most lethal because there is no warning. A curling strike from the edge of the box, his absolute trademark. Pure punishment inflicted on a team that was desperately chasing an equalizer. And after that first goal, Messi cried. A man with 8 Ballon d'Ors, a world champion, winner of the Copa America, the Champions League, everything a footballer could ever dream of winning, and he's crying after a goal against Algeria in the group stage. Why? Because sometimes numbers cannot explain the sheer weight of a moment. This might be his last World Cup. His body can no longer guarantee him anything, and the injury was already there. Messi knows that at this elite level, he doesn't have many of these nights left. But what we witnessed that night wasn't just nostalgia. Argentina didn't give their old captain a final dance out of pure sentimentality. Because the moment Messi returned, the entire game flowed through him once again. Not because Argentina doesn't have other players, the team is not weak without him, but because there is a specific type of control that you simply cannot replace with running. When Messi enters a match, he changes the gravity. The decision starts shifting towards him. The midfield reacts later because they don't know if he will release a pass or finish it himself. The goalkeeper doesn't know whether to anticipate a shot or a rebound. In that moment, the match stops being Algeria versus Argentina. It becomes Algeria versus Messi's decision. And a player like that doesn't need to dominate every single minute. This brings us to what was actually the most uncomfortable talking point. Months before the World Cup, the narrative around Argentina wasn't that Messi had to save them. It was the exact opposite. They had beaten Brazil 4-1 without Messi. Not a meaningless friendly match, but a high stakes World Cup qualifier against Brazil, sending a message to the world that this national team had evolved past Messi. Scaloni used to tell the media to leave him in peace and let him decide his own future, while DePaul said the most honest line possible: "We are at our best when our number 10 is here." Except, even without that number 10, they had looked incredibly powerful. Because of that, Argentina entered this World Cup facing a question that nobody dared to voice out loud. Does Messi actually still need to be here? And that is a heavy question, much heavier than it sounds. How do you write off a player who opens your World Cup campaign with a hat trick? So the question isn't simple. It's not, can Argentina survive without Messi? Because without Messi, Argentina is still a dangerous elite team. But with Messi, Argentina becomes a question to which the opponent has no ready made answer. Then comes the strangest part of it all. With that hat trick, Messi equaled Miroslav Klose's historic record of 16 World Cup goals. But Messi wasn't chasing that record. And that's not just an outside observation. That comes straight from Rodrigo de Paul, the man who has been his bodyguard on the pitch for years, the man who runs for him, enters duels for him, and the man who set up his first goal that very night. De Paul said after the match that Messi doesn't pay attention to individual records, that the team always comes first for him. And that's why this milestone feels different. Klose actively chased his record during his final World Cup in 2014. And that's completely normal because an obsession with a number narrows your vision. A striker in that zone sees nothing but the back of the net. But then Messi equals that exact record and says something that initially sounds like ordinary modesty. I don't chase records. I just love playing football. That is the real explanation of how he managed to reach Klose in the first place. He has never played like a man who values a record over the beauty of the play itself. And he didn't just match Klose. On that very same day, he broke the record for the oldest player to score a hat-trick at a World Cup. That record was previously held by Cristiano Ronaldo, Portugal versus Spain in 2018, one of the most insane individual performances in World Cup history. Ronaldo was 33 years and 130 days old at the time, a stat that seemed completely mind-blowing. And then Messi shows up at 38 years and 357 days old, nearly 5.5 years older, battling a hamstring injury with zero match sharpness before the tournament, and does the exact same thing, but in a completely different style. While others chase the goal, Messi chases the right decision. He chooses the best footballing option, not the fastest path to personal glory. The record isn't his obsession. The record is simply the byproduct of his decisions. What is truly fascinating here? He is the only playmaker to ever reach the top of that goal scoring list. 16 goals and 8 assists, more total goal contributions than Pele. That's where the numbers stop being just a stat, because it explains why Messi was never just a goal scorer. He doesn't sit in the penalty box waiting for the ball. He literally carries it there himself. And that is why, perhaps, his very first World Cup hat-trick came right now. Not when his body was at its physical peak, but when everyone was watching to see if he could even physically survive the match. 61 career hat-tricks, but his first one at a World Cup comes in his sixth tournament at almost 39 years old. Then comes the detail that turns this record into something greater than mere statistics. Exactly 20 years earlier, Messi scored his very first World Cup goal. It was June 16, 2006 against Serbia and Montenegro. Back then, he was the youngest Argentine to ever score at a World Cup. Today, he is the oldest man to ever score a hat-trick in one. Between those two goals, it's not just a career that has passed. The entire sport of football has completely changed. Yet, Messi is still standing. He is no longer the player who takes the ball at the center circle every week, dribbles past three defenders, and makes the stadium forget about tactics. But that is exactly the point. Less running, more meaning. Less brute force, more absolute control. Less sprinting, more punishment. That is why Algeria didn't just lose to the Argentine captain. They lost to a player who knew exactly where their mistake would happen before the mistake was even made. This brings us right back to the beginning, to Mbappe and Haaland. They look like the future of football because their physical bodies can solve any problem on the pitch. Messi looks like football itself refusing to die because his mind solves the problem before his body even has to react. We might not be wrong to value pure speed, but we are wrong if we think it's the only way to play. Because Messi proves there is another kind of speed. The speed at which the brain sees a fracture in the defense before the television camera can even capture it. Argentina thought they could move on without him. Football thought the future belongs strictly to muscle and athleticism. And then, a 38-year-old man, injured and slower than ever, scores 3 goals. Leaving us with just one final question. If football hasn't actually evolved past Messi yet, then who on earth is ever going to succeed him? You can find the answer in the clip where Messi himself mentions Nico Pass.